Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about neurodevelopment again, as I usually do. But this time, to understand why it's so important to look at the underlying reasons for a child's school or learning difficulties, I'm going to ask you to compare neurodevelopment to building a house. Because children, or people, and building houses have a lot in common. When we build a house, we start with the foundation. I think you all agree. And that foundation has to be really strong. If it isn't, chances are that walls and later the roof will possibly show cracks, roof might leak, and so on. Now, if you have a house like this, would there be any point in trying to fix the leak in the roof if the fault lies in the foundation? So think about this the other way around. A child grows like a house from the foundations until the final stages of putting the roof on. Now, if we can liken that to what we have to do in school and later on in life, it means that when we've completed our neurodevelopment, we are able to work in the roof. So what happens up in the roof of a house? We go to school, and this is where we function. We are concerned with things like learning, academic tasks. We are concerned with children learning to socialize, getting along with their peers, being emotionally capable. That all depends on neurodevelopment having been completed, and means that, in fact, the two brain hemispheres are able to work together, and each hemisphere can use their specialized areas to make us fully functioning people. But now, what supports the roof? Well, we've got walls. We've got windows put in the walls, we've got doors. And these areas we can say are rather like our eyes and ears, which allow us to process and function visually and process auditory information and function there too. But those in turn depend on what we can't see. Like the iceberg, there are things beneath the level of the ground. And those are some of our sensory motor systems that are so very important. So beneath the ground, in the foundations, holding up the walls, the windows, the doors, and the roof, we have those systems like the vestibular system, proprioception, kinesthesia, tactile system. For that matter, we have smell and taste. And then right down at the very bottom, we have the level of reflexes, which is kind of like the very first slab that we might throw in those foundations. So now, if this is how the house is built, and something is faulty in the foundation, does it make sense to see that when a child shows problems with the things that are happening up in the roof, with reading, with writing, with learning in general, it doesn't really help to immediately call in those people trained to remediate reading, remediate spelling, remediate arithmetic. Rather, let's go right down and first make sure that everything in the foundation is as it should be. And this whole house is rather like, if you would like another example, is rather like a pyramid of people. In order to build a high pyramid of acrobats, you need the ones at the bottom to be very strong and very firm. They need to hold the whole thing up. But if they're not really strong enough and a wobble sets in, you can understand how that entire pyramid may come tumbling down. But think too that you've got a pyramid of very strong, capable acrobats. But even though the ones at the bottom may be very strong and hold firm, if the ones at the top start wobbling really, really badly, then that can also send too much stress and strain on the ones at the bottom, resulting again in the whole lot tumbling down. So it's a two-way street, and very often we find that even when things in the foundation are not really weak, extreme difficulties with people up at the top or systems up at the top, for example, the visual system, the auditory system, if they're having problems and sending shockwaves down to the bottom, that can also cause everything to come tumbling down. And last but not least, we have to remember that impact from the environment can affect our house as well. Storms and whatever might happen can cause damage. And so when we're considering where the origins are, or the underlying causes are, or the roots are of a learning problem, we have to take everything into account. So that's my story about the house today. I hope it makes it clear to you why integrated learning therapy tries to work from the bottom up. We don't try to address the symptoms that we see with difficulties in short-term memory, difficulties concentrating. We go down to find where is the root of that problem.